Multiply fractions. Example 1. The original job was for a steel support that was 45 over 2 inches long. Now the job requires to scale it by 5 over 2. What is the new length of the steel support? So this question is asking us, we have an original job and we need to go ahead and multiply it by a certain factor in order to get the new length. So we're just going to go ahead and multiply these two fractions together. So we get 45 over 2, and then we're going to go ahead and multiply it by 5 over 2. So now we've set up our problem, and how we do this is we are just going to go ahead and multiply the top numbers together, and then we multiply the bottom numbers together. So we would go 45 times 5 and get us a number. So let's do that to the side. 5 times 5 is 25. So put a 5 below, carry the 2. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. So we get 225 on the top, and then 2 times 2, which is equal to 4. The new length. So this is in inches. Now let's do another problem. And so also before that, let's recap. So to multiply fractions, we multiply the numerators together like we did in the last example, and then we multiply the denominators together. Example 2. 5 horse-pounds of TIG weld in 1 hour. So how many pounds of TIG weld in 2.5 hours? So instead we're going to use the fraction 5 over 2 instead of 2.5. So we're just going to use the improper fraction, as will make it easier to multiply. So we have 5 over 2, and we're going to go ahead and multiply it by the 5/4 of the pounds. So we're just multiplying these two numbers together. So when we go ahead and multiply, we just multiply what's on the top together, and then we just multiply what's on the bottom together. 5 times 5 is equal to 25. 2 times 4 is equal to 8. And so we would say, how many pounds of TIG weld in 2.5 hours? Well, we would say 25 over 8 pounds, because all we had to do was just go ahead and multiply those two fractions together of 5/4 and then 5 over 2. Now let's do another example. Example 3. Solve for the following. So here we see we have a negative 2/5 times negative 15 over 8. So you see we're multiplying two negative numbers together. So that means our solution is actually going to be positive, because anytime you multiply two negative numbers together or divide, we're going to become a positive number in the solution. So we have negative 2 over 5 times negative 15 over 8. So we have a positive solution now. And all we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and multiply the top numbers together, and then we're going to multiply the bottom numbers together. Now, a really fun, cool trick is that we can go ahead and just divide out common factors before we even multiply. So, and this is when we look at like the cross multiplication here. So like for this 2 and this 8, we see that they both have a factor of 2 in them. So if we go 2 divided by 2, that's equal to 1. 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. Then we have 5 and 15. So they each can be divided by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So now on the top we have 1 times 3. So that's just equal to 3. 1 times 4 is equal to 4. So we get 3/4 as our answer. Now, for instance, if we were to go ahead and multiply this out, we're still going to get a positive solution. And then we have 2 times 15, which is equal to 30. 5 times 8 is equal to 40. So then we'd have to go ahead and reduce, because this is not in its reduced form. So we'd have to go ahead and divide by 2 on the top and the bottom. So we get 30 divided by 2, so that's equal to 15. 40 divided by 2 is 20. Now we can't divide by 2 anymore because 15 is odd. So we can go ahead and divide by 5 on the top and the bottom. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 20 divided by 5 is 4. So we get 3/4. So we get the same answer. See, same answer, but our trick to divide before we even multiply makes it a little bit easier. Now let's do another example. Example 4. We have 11/6 times -4/7. Now when we go ahead and multiply a positive number by a negative number, that means our solution is going to be negative. Then we're going to look for a trick before we even do this. So we see that 6 and 4 can each be divided by 2, because 6 divided by 2 is 3, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So now we have 11 times 2 and 3 times 7. So we just go 11 times 2, which is 22. 3 times 7 is 21. So we get our final solution as -22/21.